Good morning to everybody that's joined us so far. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get started and just get through kind of our housekeeping things while people are still logging in. So I'm Candace Christensen. I am the coalition coordinator. I'm the one that all your emails and everything come from. You probably see them in your inbox a lot. And I appreciate everybody joining us this morning for our 2021 virtual membership kickoff. So just to go over a few quick housekeeping items, the session is being recorded and we're going to post it to our YouTube channel. There are a few people that emailed me that weren't able to join us today, so we're going to post it so they can get the same information. If you have not already, you may want to turn on speaker view in the top right corner of your Zoom screen. It makes it a little easier to see the speakers. And if you could, please remain muted until we reach our Q&A session towards the end. That just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit less confusing when there's multiple things going on. If you find yourself with questions, you can type them into the chat box and we will answer them once we reach the Q&A. And then at the end of the session, we will be raffling off a Capital Grille gift card. So if you stick around, you may have your name drawn to win the gift card. So I wanted to start out just to give you an idea of what this kickoff is and why we're doing it. So we're putting this kickoff together to spread the word about the Caregiver Coalition. Despite the pandemic, we were able to do some really great things in 2020. And in 2021, a word that kind of keeps coming up with our committees is growth. So we want to grow membership, we want to grow our resources, and we want to expand our reach to as many caregivers as possible. And we want you guys to be a part of that. So I have a quick video here that's going to share a little bit about the coalition and who we are and our mission. And if you could give me like a quick thumbs up, just so I make sure that you guys can hear it. And with that, I would like to introduce Earl Evans. Earl has been the chair of the Caregiver Coalition since 2019, and he's done an incredible job leading the coalition. So he's going to share a little bit more about who we are and kind of what drives us forward in our work. Go ahead, Earl.
All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Good morning, everybody. I guess where I'd like to start is just to share a little bit about my personal connection and how I got involved with the coalition. I'm the executive director for Age Well, the geriatric service line at the Baptist Health System. And when I came to Jacksonville in 2015 and got started here in my work, one of the things I needed to do was to figure out, well, who else is working in the community dealing with our population, our senior population, and how do I get to know them? And I learned that we were a member of this Caregiver Coalition, and I thought, oh, well, that sounds like a good place to start. And I looked, and there were a number of organizations there that I knew were going to be important to me in our work. And I thought this is a great way to get engaged with some of the leaders in the community who are working on behalf of seniors and the caregivers who play such an important part in their health and well-being. The coalition, as I learned, has been really a reflection of the understanding that the role of caregivers in our community is underappreciated, undervalued, under-resourced, and really leaves a tremendous burden to those individuals who are providing literally billions of hours of value to our efforts to care for seniors. And we looked around, you talk, and the people who have been engaged, when we talk to each other and I look at what they do, all of these organizations in one form or another have as part of their mission to support caregiving, and every one of them are doing wonderful things. But what we recognized is the fact that the need is tremendous. And despite all of the resources, and there are a lot of resources in the community that are out there that people can access, in many cases, caregivers don't know what they are. They don't know how to access them, or perhaps sometimes they try to access them and they have difficulty. And in some cases, there's just not enough. And we recognize that the work of a caregiver is essential in our community, that these individuals need our support, and that as organizations and professionals, individual professionals working to support the needs of caregivers and the people that they are caregiving for, we can do it a lot better if we can bring ourselves together and work together as a coalition. There are many examples of powerful community-wide impact that comes through the activity of coalitions. And this is a coalition that got started at Community Hospice and Palliative Care. And Tula Wooten, that probably many of you know, played an instrumental role in the creation of the coalition and led the work of the coalition for many years through her work at Community Hospice and Palliative Care. And a couple years ago, we had both a need and an opportunity to kind of reset the coalition. And Tula was moving into the next phase of her professional life. And it was an opportunity for us to reset the coalition. And now it is supported through a relationship with ElderSource, who serves as our fiscal sponsor. We have greater structure and a charter and formal committees. And it's really set the stage for the next step in our evolution in Northeast Florida. And fortunately, with the support, we've been able to have Candace, who serves as our coordinator, and she's doing terrific work and really has picked up so much of what Tula has done over many, many years. When we look at the work itself, we really see it as being something that is targeted for caregivers, both to help them in their caregiving abilities by giving them the knowledge, the tools, the resources to do what they do. And the other is to take care of them. We know that self-care for caregivers is critically important. So many of them suffer under tremendous burdens and stress, often run into their own health issues as they break down, or economic challenges as it disrupts their ability to work. So we have really kind of a dual purpose to help caregivers be more effective in their caregiving activity on behalf of their loved ones, as well as help to take care of them as caregivers to make sure that they are healthy and supported. The coalition for a long time was pretty static in terms of the membership. And one of the things that we are committed to is extending the coalition into the community and to hopefully encourage a much broader set of organizations and individual professionals to join the coalition. There is tremendous strength in numbers in an activity like this. Most everyone who works on behalf of the coalition, other than Candace, who has this as her paid responsibility, the rest of us have most everybody has some other primary responsibility. And so people are volunteering their time, utilizing some of their paid time to do this, which is great. But we need more help. We need more people engaged. There's lots of work to be done and many different things we could do with more active engagement by other organizations and professionals in the community. I found my membership, my participation, to be a wonderful way to get to know some very terrific people, a number of whom are on the call this morning. And I think it's a great opportunity for each of you in your roles, and I'm looking forward to hearing about you a little bit today. But I think it's a great way to get connected in the community of people who are working in healthcare, aging services, housing, all the different areas of support and services for seniors. We are eager to grow, and we hope that you will give some serious thought to joining the coalition this year, learn about it, participate actively, and help us achieve our mission. So with that, I'll turn it back to Candace.
Thank you, Earl. So we kind of talked about the what of the coalition, and Earl shared with us about sort of the why of the coalition and how we're very mission driven. But I really quickly want to talk about the how we get work done. So most of what we do is through committees. Earl kind of touched on the committees. We're led by our executive committee, and then we have our membership committee, the events committee, and the communications committee. And the purpose of this is that we have people that are taking their specialized talents, their resources, and their skills to focus on specific elements of the work of the Caregiver Coalition. So it's not a bunch of people, we're not all trying to do everything all at once, So sort of the work of these committees, our membership committee works to build membership with agencies and organizations and community members, people that have a passion for caregiving. And then also enhancing the diversity and reaching across sectors. And then our communications committee, we work on the website, our Facebook. We, last year at the beginning of COVID, launched a YouTube channel. That was actually when we launched our Facebook as well. And last year we had a quarterly newsletter. And this year we decided we're going to make it a bi-monthly newsletter to continue having more engagement with caregivers. We share announcements, we share resources, we share helpful articles, all just right to the email, all in one place. And our Facebook page and our website house those resources as well. And then we have our events committee, and our events committee is very active and always looking for additional members. So we work, last year also due to COVID, we launched our virtual caregiver workshops, and those were monthly. And that was really our response to the social isolation brought on by COVID, to respond to the anxiety, the confusion. There are lots of new resources that were coming about, and we wanted to get those to caregivers who were in their homes, who were getting bombarded with so much information. And it was hard to know what was true, and it was hard to understand that you're allowed to take care of yourself and how to take care of yourself. So when we're looking at 2020 as being this year of flexibility and of adjustment, we really had to think on our toes, and we had to bring meaningful topics to caregivers. So we launched those virtual caregiver workshops. We also work on partner events. We talk a lot about not wanting to reinvent the wheel. We have a lot of fantastic organizations who are members of the coalition, and we like to leverage each other. You know, if there's something that we can partner up and help on and provide information and marketing and any other communication tools, we'd like to do that. So we also focus on other outreach opportunities. Those we've talked about, going out into the community and bringing resources to museums, to clinics, to libraries, to senior centers, and just increase the visibility of the coalition itself, and bring resources to caregivers, especially people who may not immediately identify as caregivers and who may see something sitting on a table in a library and say, wow, I think that's me. You know, I think that resource is for me and I could really use that. So I want to talk a little bit about who we were able to reach in 2020, because it was such a weird year. We started 2020 with these huge plans of relaunching the coalition. We were smack dab in the middle of planning our very first caregiver conference. We were re-engaging with an audience that hadn't heard from the coalition in well over a year. And it felt like in the blink of an eye, everything changed. Day by day, we were completely playing it by ear. We had to cancel events, we had to cancel meetings, and we were quickly finding that we had to adjust to this virtual world. And we weren't the only ones. This is something that everybody was doing. So like I said, social isolation became a top issue. And with that, we launched those virtual caregiver workshops. They were through Zoom and they were free for anybody to attend. So we brought in caregiving experts that talked about everything from managing stress and grief and difficult emotions to understanding what legal documents that you might need as a caregiver. We talked in the summer about how to prepare for an emergency evacuation in the time of COVID-19. We talked about how to find joy during the pandemic as a caregiver when you can't seem to have hope that things will get better. And we were able to bring these topics and these resources and the support to caregivers who were isolated and who were struggling. But we also provided them with an outlet that they could ask questions and have conversations with these experts and have conversations with other caregivers. They were able to leave encouraged, they left with support, they left with these resources, and hear from caregivers who faced similar struggles. We also had a really incredible day-long Caring for the Veteran Caregiver Conference. That was something that was really special to the coalition. That was like Tula's baby. That was something that she looked forward to every year. And we decided to continue it, but we made it virtual. And I was on Zoom from like 8 in the morning until 3 p.m. in the afternoon. But we had over 130 people logging on to participate and learn and share their experiences as a veteran with their loved ones who were veterans, to get these resources from the VA, to get this encouragement. And we had no technical difficulties, which that in and of itself was a feat. So it went really, really well. And so you can see that a lot of these numbers on the screen, and that's great, but it gives you an idea of who we were able to reach in 2020. But I think what we're really trying to get at is that the coalition is made up of some incredible and passionate people who all work together to create these different opportunities to make sure that caregivers feel heard, that they feel represented, and then most importantly, they feel like they're not alone and that they're allowed to take care of themselves. So with all that being said, what does that mean for 2021? We did a lot of great things in 2020. We're still kind of stuck a little bit in this like virtual limbo. So what are we planning that's going to be different? You know, what are we doing for 2021? So like I've said just a few times, we really want to grow. This is our year to increase our membership with organizations that share our passion for lifting up caregivers, that have resources that they want to share with more people, that organizations that want to work together with the community. And we want to share more resources with more caregivers. This year, we're really focusing on the partnerships and where we can bring great agencies and organizations and great minds together to accomplish our goals. We want to continue to reach caregivers within their homes who are experiencing social isolation or struggling to ask for help. And we really want to empower caregivers to help themselves and consider their own health and their own needs in addition to that of their loved ones. I think that that's something that everybody hears is so difficult for caregivers, is it's hard to prioritize yourself and spending time with yourself and self-care and going to doctor's appointments for yourself, not just for your loved one. So we really want to bring that encouragement and that empowerment for caregivers. So there are benefits to membership. There are concrete written benefits to membership, but instead of reading through this list of these benefits, I want to take the opportunity to call on a few coalition members that are joining us on this call today. I think it kind of puts our work and our mission in perspective when you can hear it firsthand from current members. So I'll start with Carrie Eyre. Would you like to introduce yourself and share a little bit about why you joined the coalition and what your experience has been like and how you've benefited?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So when Candace asked me to say a few words about my experience with the Caregiver Coalition, I immediately remembered my very first meeting with the Caregiver Coalition. I was still a graduate student then and was asked to attend the meeting because my preceptor who was helping me with my practicum couldn't be there. And she said, I can't be there. Can you please just go and attend this meeting and take some notes for me? And I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know where the meeting place was. And I was, just kind of like thrown into it. And it was immediately helpful. I began making connections to people in the community who do some really incredible work. And it helped me, number one, get through school because it was, a way for me to understand the industry I had chosen to work in. And after I finished school and began working in a professional space, I already had a network of people that I could learn from and kind of help make my way through my new responsibilities. It really did help on a very practical level. In the role that I first began in, I did a lot of face-to-face education with the community. And so this was an avenue to get in front of an audience and like literally meet the goals that were given to me in my professional role, which was to meet, X amount of people out in the community and talk about specific topics. And so I had a way to get that work done and be successful. And so, as Earl said, it's also just an opportunity to get to know some truly wonderful people. The organization is really mission driven, and not only mission driven, but output driven. So this is not an organization of people who come together to talk about these kind of pie in the sky goals. There's actual work that comes out of every meeting when we come together, which is really helped to keep me charged for the work that we do and, not become at risk of having a burnout. So that's just been really wonderful. I hope that a lot of you had an opportunity to attend the virtual events that we did last year. They really were great. And I was just so pleased that we were able to transition from the live in-person events that we were more known for into this virtual space. I think Candace really helped us to pull that off. So it's still going on. This work is really still taking place. And I want to say too that, and one thing I think is really important about the Caregiver Coalition is that the larger we can make this group, the more we can reduce the stigma that surrounds caregiving and some of these illnesses that the elderly population struggle with. It always amazes me that I will meet someone who's caregiving for a parent and they'll like whisper to me, I'm caring for my mom, she has Alzheimer's. Like it's something to be ashamed of. And I think if we can grow the work of the Caregiver Coalition and let the people of Northeast Florida realize that it's hard, it's nothing to be ashamed of, it's okay if you need help, and there's an organization of people who are here to support you for free. All of the resources that we provide to the community are available to them at no cost. It really goes a long way into reducing some of that stigma that surrounds a lot of these challenges that caregivers face. So that I think is just really important. So that I love being a part of this organization for that. And of course, I have to say again, how wonderful the people are. I always love coming to the meetings. It's always the highlight of my Zoom experience is coming together with these folks.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Carrie also chairs our communications committee, and she does a really great job leading the efforts on our building our YouTube channel and our website, and building this collection of resources. So thank you, Carrie. So I want to call on Rachel Weinstein. Rachel, would you like to introduce yourself and share a little bit of your time with the coalition?
Absolutely. So I'm Rachel Weinstein. I have been a member of the Caregiver Coalition for several years and joined the events planning committee last year, I believe it was. I think, is that right, Candace? I think about a year ago. I did work for Baptist Agewell at the time, and now I am with Home Instead. I'm also a caregiver for my mom, who's very independent, yet, needs me in a variety of ways. And so not only it touches me personally, but part of my mission as a grief counselor in the community is to be conscious of the needs of caregivers and to be part of the network of support. So I'm so happy to be part of this coalition. I completely agree with what Carrie shared about, first of all, the fact that we come together as a coalition and real work comes out of that, real output that's significant comes out of our meetings, not just pie in the sky ideas. I wholeheartedly agree with what Carrie shared, and the fact that I have participated in several different ways, both as a participant and a presenter in many of our events. And I always take away something myself. It's not just I'm tuning into them just to do my part as a committee member or, just to present, but I also come away with really practical things as a caregiver myself that are practical and helpful, useful. And I also really share Carrie's belief about the fact that we need to grow to just simply show more presence to caregivers out there, to say, look, we're all ages, we're all types, we have a variety of kinds of challenges and issues, and it's really nice to have a strong network of support. And so I think we really would love to show representation in our community and around even bigger than our community. Just the presence of caregivers is so important, knowing that we're here for them. So it's been a real joy, and I've gotten so much more than I feel like I've given just from being part of the coalition. I strongly encourage anyone who's thinking about it to take advantage of this incredible resource.
Thank you, Rachel. And I do want to put a plug in.
You're welcome.
Did a presentation for us last year, and it was really great. It was on self-care for a caregiver, and she talked about self-soothing techniques, and she talked about, finding time for yourself as a caregiver. And you can see that on our YouTube channel. If you're interested, it's Caregiver Coalition of Northeast Florida. So the next person I want to call on, Andrea Spencer. Andrea Spencer is my supervisor. She's the VP of Communications at Elder Source, and she also sits on our communications committee. Andrea?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Both Carrie and Rachel said some really important points. I want to talk about a couple of the things that related to us specifically here as an organization, ElderSource. About a year and a half ago, we were working on a strategic plan, and the word and the notion of providing information and support to caregivers kept coming up over and over and over again. So that's when we stepped in and decided, you know, it is a very strategic initiative for our organization to be one of really wonderful organizations here in the community that takes hold of the importance of caregivers and older adults in our community. So we have our helpline, and that is our main core business, our helpline, which offers the information and referral for, pre-COVID, it was about 6,000 calls a month. And now we're looking at 8,500 calls a month are coming in through our helpline. So most of those people are older adults, but you know what, more often than not, it's a caregiver calling on behalf of a loved one or a neighbor calling on behalf of somebody that they care about. So I think it's really important as organizations to have that business model of like, what's your strategy? How are you going to reach the people, your customer base, the people that are part of your mission? So when you look at the Caregiver Coalition, I think you can check the box very easily that says this work that is being done with this coalition will check that box of making us a very purposeful organization. So in the business sense, it's time well spent, it's quality work being done. You know, look at everything that has been accomplished during COVID. And, you know, we've taken this really difficult time and we've created an opportunity for more organizations such as your own to tap into this resource for you as a business, for you as an organization to really succeed in creating some valuable resources for the individuals in our community. So it is truly an opportunity to take a hold of what's here that's already been laid out and very strategic and very thorough to embrace it as something that you can participate in as well. So it's not, as Candace had said, you know, earlier, that these efforts are very, they're quality, it's good people working together. So as I mentioned, I'm hoping you'll check the box today and say, yep, I'm going to make that an effort for our organization to plug into all these wonderful professionals, to be that resource, to be another resource for the caregivers and older adults in our community. So thank you again. Happier New Year. We've got some great stuff lined up, and I appreciate all of you coming out today. Thanks.
Thank you, Andrea. So is there anyone else? We have a few other members on the call. Is there anyone else that maybe wanted to say something in this time? You're not obligated to, but I don't want to cut anyone off. Justine or anyone that in case you want to share something.
I would like to just say why we are part of the Caregiver Coalition. Mm-hmm. My name is Justine Cumming, and I'm the ARP Northeast Florida community outreach person. And part of our role and goal is to be a resource and a trusted resource in the community for people 50 plus. When I came here in 2016, I realized that ARP was a sponsor and that we were responsible for being a part of some of the events that were in person. And I'm like, it was a jump in right away and get involved. And we got involved because of the things that folks have already said, but we do a prepare to care guide. And so when we want people to know that there are resources in the community, like you said, that are free, and that you might dismiss AARP because you think it's for old people. Oh, but it's not. And if you keep living, you're going to be our age soon. And we talk about one of the things that's been helpful for me and that some of our work surrounds is 1 in 7 caregivers are millennial age. And so one of the things that we want to do is prepare caregivers of all ages and helping people realize that, oh, this might be an advocacy organization for people 50 plus, but how can I benefit from the resources? And so we want to continue to work with, network, and join forces with groups in the community. And this last year, I chaired the events committee specifically so that we are working collaboratively across the different areas, and not ARP doing its own thing or Alzheimer's or elder source, but the beauty of working collaboratively, that has been the big redeeming and helpful piece for us. And so if and when, not if, but when you join the coalition, you too will get the benefits of the collective group. And so that by itself is helpful. And so I've learned a lot. And one last thing I'll say is the difference when I have someone who needs help and I'm able to call Rachel, because I have her telephone number and I can get through to her, or Jamie Glavin. I can't tell you the difference that it makes to have a telephone number of someone that you know and is in relationship and partnership with, that can get you the answer for the people you're trying to serve. That alone goes farther than I can say in this time that I have. But thank you, and looking forward to working with you collaboratively.
Thank you, Justine. So with that, I want to take a few minutes. If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to type them in the chat, or you can turn off your microphone and you can ask. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to stop sharing the screen too, so that I can see everybody's faces. Here we go. So does anybody have any questions, need any clarification on anything, any of our points, have any questions about meetings or committee work or anything else? Or is it like totally clear and you're joining this afternoon?
Did you tell us where to join or how to join? Did I miss that?
No, you didn't miss that. That was actually going to be my next point, but I'll go over it real quick. There are a few ways to do that. So you can visit our website, caregivercoalition.org. And if you go to the Get Involved tab, there's going to be information. There's going to be a membership application and our membership agreement that you can go over. And you just fill that out and you can send it to me, or you can send it to info@caregivercoalition.org. Another way you can do that is you can email info@caregivercoalition.org and just say, hey, I'm interested in joining, send me more information. And the last way that's special to this session is I'm going to be putting up a poll in just a few minutes. And if you just check the box that yes, you want to receive more information and are interested in joining, I will reach out personally to you and send you the application and the agreement and any other information you might need. And if I do that, that doesn't mean you're totally obligated to fill it out and join immediately. If you just want to glance over and see what it's about, that's also totally fine. But we would love to have you guys get involved and join us.
Can I just make a couple of things that I think will be helpful?
Course.
That the membership is calendar year, correct?
Yes.
And so no matter when you join during the year, it's still calendar year. And so, and
Thanks, Justine. Are there any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat.
You ready for me to close the deal?
I think I'm ready for you to close the deal.
Okay, so
special announcement.
Yeah, so this is how it works. We're so determined to lure you to join us. The executive committee this year decided to make a 1-year free membership for all of you. So if you are thinking about it and you're wondering, can we afford it? The answer is for 1 year, absolutely, because it's going to be free. This is a special 1-year free membership so that you can become part of the coalition. You can see what it's really about, hopefully get involved and not just be on the sidelines, so that you can really both help us and contribute, but also gain the value that comes from engagement. This is for the calendar 2021. When we come time to 2022, you, like our all members will get a renewal notice and an opportunity to sign again for 2022. At that point, you will be asked to pay the membership fee for the category of membership that would apply to you. The current membership fees are modest. For for-profit organizations who come in as an organizational member, it's $500 for a year. For nonprofit organizations, it's $450. We also have individual memberships for individuals who are coming in themselves as independent. They could be caregivers, professionals of one type or another. And we also have student memberships for people who qualify as students. So all that information will be available to you when you come in to join us. But for this year, there's really no financial barrier for anyone. And I hope all of you will consider getting involved and bringing your talents, your passion to the work that we're doing. And I want to just say one last thing that I should have mentioned. There's one part of our vision for the coalition and it's an important part of our mission that we're not yet really ready to tackle is the issue of advocacy on behalf of caregivers. Right now, our work is very focused on building the membership and providing resources and access to resources, which Candace reviewed with all of you. But one of our goals is to really become the voice for caregivers in Northeast Florida. And to be a strong advocacy organization, for those of you who do some advocacy work in your role, you know that being one person, one voice, however passionate, is not the same thing as when you go and you speak in concert with others on behalf of many. And I've seen the difference. I come from a state where we had a very large coalition it wasn't exactly for caregiving, it was really for the people working in the aging community. It had, I think at its peak when I was there, about 160 members of all sorts. And we became a powerful voice in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania when it came to issues of aging. And we can become that for the caregivers in Northeast Florida if we can get like-minded organizations and individuals to join us. Because when we have that, that kind of membership and representation, when we go to Tallahassee or we go to talk to the city or any of the other county governments about resources and decision-making, they're gonna listen. They're gonna listen in a different way than when we go as individuals and organizations on our own. So that's my final pitch for why it's important to become part of the coalition. And I really hope that you'll join us this year. It's not difficult. And as I said, the price is right. It's free.